Men Engage comes at a time when SGBV cases in the country have been at an all-time high, with the national statistics between September 2019 and September 2020 showing that 5,961 GBV cases have been reported with the Namibian police, of which 3,119 arrests have been made. 2,595 cases are with the courts, 892 cases have been withdrawn, 2,338 are still under investigation, 900 cases have been finalized, and 712 convictions have been made.
To gender-based violence, it was very sad for me to learn that even though after the demonstrations that we have seen on the streets, GBV continued. Even today there are cases. Last week there were 7 rape cases. And if you look at those cases, you begin to ask questions. What are we doing as a community? What could have government done in those circumstances? And I always say that, these cases, these activities, GBV activities are not perpetrated somewhere in the jungle. They are perpetrated in our midst. But what are we doing as a community to make sure that they do not happen in our midst? I think that's what we need to start talking about as a nation. Community response and not only response but prevention. The key to the solution of our situation, GBV situation, is men. If we engage men, if we engage young boys while they are in school, and it starts from there, from the community level, from the home, parental home, and then it goes to schools, to other institutions that works with this young boy, to make sure that we prepare this boy to become a responsible, violent-free man in future.
Men Engage has welcomed government's responses to the recent #ShutItDown protests, which were sparked by the escalating SGBV cases. However, calling for consistency and inclusivity from government's responses and for stakeholders across all sectors to also address underlying root causes. The organization has identified some of the underlying root causes to be patriarchal traditions, harmful gender norms, unresolved individual and collective trauma, as well as violence as an automated and learned response to conflict. They have called out the law enforcement for its response to the recent #ShutItAllDown peaceful protests with excessive force.
As a network, Men Engage, we really were touched by the recent protests around SGBV, sexual gender-based violence, and we feel there are 3 key actions that need to be taken. Also, looking at the police response that happened, it showed that violence itself, the response of violence towards any type of conflict or tension, is part of the system, and we need to tackle that. So we strongly suggest and request for sensitization training with the police, to really train police properly to deal with conflict, to deal with violence, particularly gender-based violence. Secondly, we were shocked to hear that Namibia is about to pull out of what is called the comprehensive sexual education in schools, and that is a program that really helps young people to understand what sexuality is, what consent is, where boundaries are concerned, what is a healthy relationship, what is a healthy sexuality, and that is key. Because in a lot of households this is a taboo, so we need these things to be addressed in school so that young people know who they are and how they healthily relate with their peers. Because at home nobody speaks to them about it, and that's one of the major root causes for rape.
Additional SGBV statistics show that between September 2019 and September 2020, the Commerce region has the highest GBV prevalence of up to 2,531 cases, while Kunene has the lowest prevalence of 50 cases. Ohangwena region has the highest rape prevalence of 218 cases, while the Karas region is at the lowest of 10 cases.